are down to the final play of the regular season. Luke's kick is on the way. It is up. It is no good. Has a Ravens season ended with such a gut-wrenching thud as a missed field goal?
You asked me about next year, Jameson. Like, I'm so caught up in what just happened tonight. I can't focus on that right now.
Want another shot with these guys?
Yeah, I love these guys.
John Harbaugh was the latest in a litany of coaches fired by their team.
I expect John Harbaugh to be the most in-demand coach in this cycle with multiple opportunities. He will be able to go wherever he wants.
Certainly sounds like the case already, not even 24 hours later. Hello, everyone. Welcome to First Take. I am Shae Cornette. That is Stephen A. Smith. Marcus Spears in the building. Chris Mad Dog Russo. And good morning, Louis Riddick. How you doing?
Lou don't.
Yeah, he don't hear you.
Thrilled to be here. Thrilled to be talking about it. There he is. A little late on the uptick. It's all right. Hi, Lou. Good to see you. All right, let's get into the big news that happened yesterday. Will it be the last shoe to fall in terms of the coaching carousel? We don't know. But yesterday evening, we learned that the Ravens will have a new head coach for the first time in 18 years, with Baltimore firing John Harbaugh. He arrived in Baltimore in 2008, delivered 12 playoff appearances, 6 AFC North championships, 15 seasons above 500, and a Super Bowl title. His dismissal came just 2 days after Baltimore lost to the Steelers on a field goal and missed the playoffs for the first time since 2021. John Harbaugh did release a statement that read in part this, quote, "Well, I was hoping for a different kind of message on my last day here someday, but that day has come today. It comes with disappointment, certainly, but more with gratitude and appreciation. Gratitude to the owner and organization who was willing to bring in a head coach who made his mark with special team success, a difficult thing to do, and appreciation for all the moments all these years that are etched into eternity," end quote. Was this the right decision to move on in Baltimore, Doggy?
Yeah, you have to say you can't think that Harbaugh got a bad deal here. You know, he was there 18 years. That's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
They, last year it was a terrible loss on Sunday night. Last year they haven't won a big playoff run in a long time. The Buffalo lost last year, and Andrews dropped a touchdown pass at the end, a two-point conversion play. The Chiefs a couple of years ago, when they were very sloppy, unsportsmanlike penalties and everything else, or the double-digit blown leads. Yep. I can't go crazy, and I don't. And Bichetti's a good owner, so he's been loyal. So I can't go crazy. It's just one of those things, and I think he's a good coach.
Yeah.
He won 193 games. Guy's got a 601 winning percentage, and he's won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Harbaugh's going to work.
He's fine.
He's a good coach.
Yeah.
But in a lot of ways, I don't think there's really any person who feels guilty here who's in a bad way. Maybe the field goal kicker who missed that kick. He makes the kick, and Harbaugh did not handle those 12 seconds right. You and I will discuss that with Stevie a little later on because we were talking about it before the show. But I think here there's nobody to cry about. Bichetti, good owner. Can't blame him, 18 years. Harbaugh, been there forever. Terrible loss. New voice. He'll be okay. So I'm okay all the way around.
Yeah.
Louis Riddick, go ahead, man.
Louis has a really bad delay, so let's wait on Louis for a second. Marcus, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Mad Dog. This is earlier this year I fought with Baltimore Ravens fans about they wanted him fired early in the season. And I think during the season you look at all of the things that transpire, all the things that happen. You got guys injured. Lamar is in and out with his injuries. Like, this team was bereft of a lot of their players that they were going to count on. Nnamdi Madubuike, who was one of the best D tackles in the league, didn't play in the Detroit game, and it was glaring early in the season, if y'all remember. Here's the other thing, too, though. Both of y'all are familiar with college football from the past. Mark Richt won a lot of games at Georgia. Won a number of games, like was considered and regarded as one of the best college coaches. Never could get over the hump. Kirby Smart comes in, wins national championships, and you don't hear Mark Richt's name anymore at UGA, who I believe was one of the best college coaches for a large majority of my generation coming through school. So Baltimore, only reason you fire John Harbaugh is because you think somebody is going to get you that half a step further. because this team should have at least been in a Super Bowl. And he didn't get fired for not being a good coach. He didn't get fired for not having his team prepared and things going the right way. He got fired because once you get to that position, you start getting judged on the margins. We're not judging you for your 13 wins anymore in the regular season. We're not judging you for your first place bid in the AFC to get into the playoffs or be the 1 seed. We are saying you got Lamar Jackson. You've had defenses that have been really good. You've had skilled players that's been really good outside of the wide receiver. We also brought Derrick Henry in because we thought that would put us over the hump as far as trying to win the Super Bowl, and that is why he was judged and why we're here today. I said that a couple days ago. It's no longer about winning games for certain coaches. That's why everybody with Mike Tomlin, the noise was rumbling with Mike T. It's about winning playoff games and getting to the Super Bowl. And look, you have to be a coach to earn the right to be judged that way. And that tells everybody that you're a good coach. And that's why John Harbaugh is going to be requested to interview with every single team with an opening, because nobody thinks that he's not a really good coach. He's proven that. But now he's judged on the margins. And the Baltimore Ravens said, we're going to try to find that extra thing to get us to a Super Bowl and over the hump, and Harbaugh might not be the guy.
180 and 113 record. There's nothing to sneeze about. A Super Bowl championship, albeit 13 years ago. There's nothing to sneeze at. You get that part. But 18 blown double-digit leads in the second half of your career, more than anybody. Colts and Tampa Bay are second with 17 in that time period since he's been the head coach. That's one matter. Lamar Jackson is your quarterback. May be another matter. It ain't his fault that Mark Andrews dropped a two-point conversion. It ain't his fault that Zay Flowers fumbled at the goal line. It ain't his fault that Tyler Loop, missed a gimme when he hasn't missed a shot, 50 yards or less, a field goal shot this entire season until that moment. That's not his fault. But here's the flip side to all of it. You're hearing rumblings. He lost the locker room. That guys, and this, we don't talk about this enough. You do get to a point where either you're sick and tired of that voice that you're listening to, or something just as big as that. It's just noise. They bore you. Yep. They don't offend you. You don't hate them for it, but they just don't move you. And we don't bring that last part up enough. We usually say, oh, you know what? They're tired of you. They don't want to listen to you anymore. And we stop there. No, there's another element where you don't galvanize. You don't motivate. You don't push those right buttons to maximize the potential around you. That's what I think we're talking about here. Now, there was a 44-10 loss, if I remember correctly, to Houston earlier this season in October. He was booed that night. But people didn't forget what happened in December when they lost to New England 28-24. You up, double digits, on them. And the last 12 minutes of the game, Derrick Henry never touched the ball. That wasn't the only time we complained about Derrick Henry not touching the football. I understand that you have an offensive coordinator. How does your offensive coordinator get away with not giving the football to one of the top 2 elite running backs in the game today, who's a man-child, a man amongst boys, shoving people aside like paper? That guy is who you want the ball. You want the ball in this man's hands. You don't go double-digit minutes with a double-digit lead, with the game on the line, and you don't give him the ball. What the hell were you doing? You standing around doing nothing? Yeah. You got to get in that offensive coordinator's ear. If you don't get this man the ball, you're going to be looking for a job. You know what I'm saying? That's why I love the Netflix special with the Cowboys when we went to Michael Irvin after Troy Aikman got hurt, and then Steve Berline came in, and Steve Berline came to Michael Irvin and said, what you want to do? Give me the damn ball. You want your job, don't you? You want a job, right? You want to keep your job, don't you? Give me the ball. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for that kind of command. John Harbaugh, along this way, it was dissipating incrementally over the years. That can't happen when you have Lamar Jackson. It's supposed to elevate. It ain't supposed to go this way. And so when you look at it from that standpoint, I would tell you, like, listen, I'm sad because he is a damn good coach, and he does have a good resume, and we know the man knows what he's doing. But we'll get into all of this later. We're going to have a discussion today about all of these people that can't wait and all the phone calls that he's getting and all of this other stuff. Remember that last part I said, when you're talking to folks, and
do you move them?
Do you move them?
Yep.
I know he knows what he's doing because Louis Riddick's getting ready to speak. I know he knows what he's doing. I know the man can coach, but at some point, is your voice going to resonate? In today's NFL, that has to happen. And what Baltimore is saying, according to numerous reports from us and others, they're saying that those players got to a point where it was just noise. That is not a good sign. That is not a good sign.
The only thing I'll say to that is he was like a field goal away from being in the playoffs, where maybe this isn't even a story we're having. His agent did say yesterday he had 7 phone calls from other teams inquiring
agents say a lot of
about
stuff.
his head coaching services.
Right.
There's only 7 openings, so who was the other? I don't know. Louis Riddick, what do you think? John Harbaugh's firing, was it warranted?
Yeah. Look, me personally, no, I don't think it's warranted, but I understand it. I understand that in the end, it's a bottom line business. This is a what have you done for me lately business. This is a win now business. And if you don't, especially considering all the rhetoric that was surrounding this football team for the past 3 years, as far as it potentially being the best 53-man roster in football, someone has to be held accountable. And you can't get rid of all the players. You're going to have to get rid of the person who, by all accounts, is the CEO of the football team, and that's John Harbaugh. And he ultimately is going to be the one who's held accountable. Look, a lot of times I don't buy into the whole, discussion around whether or not, at this point in time is his message falling on deaf ears, and is that one of the reasons why this team is underachieved in critical game-changing moments? Because in my time, never was I out on the football field in a crucial third down situation wondering whether or not, I was able to execute my assignment based on whether or not the coach got me fired up during the pregame speech or what he said to me during the week. At some point in time, you have to be a professional. At some point in time, you have to catch the football. At some point in time, you have to protect the football when you know that you're carrying the fortunes of the entire organization on your hands. At some point, you have to make the field goal. At some point, you have to make sure that on the double move, you're the one who understands that the field is slippery, that you're playing off man coverage. You have to keep your feet underneath you, and you have to play everything top down, not give up a game-winning touchdown. At some point, the communication in the back end and the secondary is on you. It's not on John Harbaugh. It's on you. It's not on Zach Orr. It's on you. Now, I understand, look, when you don't utilize your personnel the way you need to utilize them, and you kind of like eliminate Derrick Henry by the fact that you just don't give him the football, yeah, you're going to be called into the office about that, and you need to be held accountable about that. Derrick Henry also needs to hold on to the football, okay? Players have to catch the football. Lamar has to deliver the football. So there's a lot to go around here. There's a lot of blame to go around. And you know what? And Marcus made a great point. It is a good thing. And the reason why it's a good thing is because this football team has been right there. Every single year it's been right there. And now you're held to such a high standard that if you don't get all the way over it, at some point, look, Steve Bisciotti's going to go, well, is it John? Is it the message? Is it the scheme, the strategies, the tactics that John's employing? Do I need to change it? But it shouldn't stop there. That's for sure. This is not just, well, if we take John out and put a new coach in, he's going to push the right buttons with Lamar. He's going to push the right buttons with the defense. Mm-hmm. He's going to keep all the players healthy, and everything's just going to be great, because it's not going to be that way. Well, it's not. You have to be careful when you do this, because you got to understand, what's your next best alternative? What's it going to be?
Lewis.
And you better level up from here.
Well, respectfully, I'm pushing back on this, because let's go to the executive ranks for a second here. I don't know if you saw me on my radio show, the Stephen A. Smith Show, Mad Dog Sports Radio, the other day, Louis Riddick, but I went on the air and I said, Louis Riddick should be a general manager in the National Football League. Well, damn it, you ain't been one yet. You need to be. At some point in time, how the hell are you going to sit up there and get a Louis Riddick in there if all we ever looking at, well, this person's been around a long time. And you know what? They got a decent resume. And you know what? I mean, there's a lot of different components that come with it. At some point in time, somebody got to pay the piper. Now, damn it, it's been 13 years. And the last 7, 8 years, Lamar Jackson, a 2-time league MVP, a runner-up twice, I believe, 4 league MVP, was your quarterback the whole damn time. Mm-hmm. Derrick Henry's been there about 2, 3 years. At some point in time, when do I get to look at you? John Harbaugh, I respect the hell out of him. And I think he's a damn good coach. And anybody that hires him, nobody is going to throw any shade on that. But for the purposes of this conversation, when do I get to sit back and look at you and go like this? Damn, 13 years is long. Do you know what 13 years is? Do you understand that the Baltimore Ravens won when Ray Lewis was there?
Yeah.
When he was hugging him and saying, I will never desert you. I will never leave you. I will always be there for you. This is what he was talking to John Harbaugh on the sidelines, okay, during the game. Colin Kaepernick was the opposing quarterback. That is the last time they won a Super Bowl. Joe Flacco was your quarterback, and we respect Joe Flacco. We've seen how that man can fling the football, but he's no Lamar Jackson. So the fact of the matter is that if you can win a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco 13 years ago, why over the last 7, 8 years with the personnel you haven't won? Oh, I didn't even get to the defense because we saw how trashy they were at points in this season. You did start off 1-5. How the hell that happened? Couldn't have started off 2-3? Couldn't have started off 3-2.
But Steve,
I'm just saying those kind of things.
Yeah.
It's not like we can't sit up here. I understand that the man just won the Super Bowl 3 years ago. But we can't sit up here when the man ain't won a title in 13 years and you got the squad that he's had over the last several years and you can't get over the hump. We can't ignore that.
We can't ignore it, and Lou went through it about the players, and I completely agree. As former players, you always say, I say it all the time, players get coaches fired. Majority of the time, players get coaches fired. Unless you just have an inept coach that don't know what the hell they doing. That's really when you run into that problem. Here's the thing that I think people need to understand about the John Harbaugh situation and him not being in Baltimore anymore. It's about the past and this coming to a head this year.
Okay.
AFC Championship, they run the ball 9 times, Lou. 9 times. The #1 rush team in the NFL that year, correct me if I'm wrong, with Gus Edwards and I forget who the other back was, they ran the football 9 times, okay? So the following year, you have a very successful season. I believe that was the following year was the AFC. You get the 1 seed. Houston comes into town. You go to the AFC Championship. You can't manufacture yards. Zay Flowers has the fumble going into the end zone. There's a lot of things that happened during that game where we also questioned what was the coaches thinking. Why would they be in that situation against Kansas City? You fast forward to this year, and that's why I said at first, Lou and Shae, we're not judging John Harbaugh on being a good coach. We always got to preface everything by he's a good coach and he got a good record, and I don't know what this team is doing. He's not being judged on that. That's not what the Bisciotti and the brass in Baltimore was not judging John Harbaugh on the fact that he's won 60% of his games. They not judging him on the fact that he's been a Super Bowl champion. Now, we give people credence for that, as we should. That's a lot. That's a feather in your cap. You've done phenomenal things and the rarest of things as far as winning the Lombardi. But we got to a point where we're not judging John Harbaugh on that anymore. We judging John Harbaugh on what Stephen A. said. Lamar Jackson been your quarterback the last 7 years, 8 years or so, and you haven't reached the Super Bowl. Mike McDonald was the best defense in the league, Lou. And they did not get there. That's the type of things I think he's being judged on.
Okay, so really quick, Lou. Okay, so let's shift the focus a little here to Lamar, because Lamar Jackson, a 2-time MVP, we've talked about it a ton. He's had 8 different playoff appearances, played in 8 different playoff games, has nothing to show for it. So what does this coaching change, no matter who takes the place of John Harbaugh, what does it mean for Lamar Jackson? Go ahead, Lou.
Moving forward, it's going to be about, okay, is the next coach going to be able to strike that balance between embracing Lamar, becoming someone who has to work in concert with Lamar, because make no mistake about it, the head coach and the quarterback are the 2 most important people when you're talking about the football operation. Are they going to have that same relationship that John and Lamar had all during these years? Which, I mean, obviously, I guess it's being called into question now about whether or not there was kind of like a separation between the two here in the latter stages of their respective careers, which I can't confirm or deny. I don't know about that, but that's going to be huge. That's going to be huge for the next incoming coach, is to have that kind of relationship. Is he going to want to run the same kind of offense Are the players going to get along with this new coach and his coaching staff and the kind of system that he wants to run? I mean, there's a lot that's going to go into who the next person is. It's not just a plug and play where you just go, John's out, new coach is in, new coordinators in, here's this great roster that Eric DeCosta put together, and now we get over the hump. It's not like that. This team, look, NFL teams already operate on a razor's edge. You can disrupt chemistry quickly with just one transaction, let alone the entire football operation being reset, which is more than likely what this could potentially become. I think that's what we may be heading towards, because you just don't know what the new head coach will want to do. Now, obviously, like I said, Eric DeCosta, Steve Bisciotti, they're all the ones who are still pulling the strings, and they ultimately will set the direction of this franchise. It's not going to be the new head coach coming in. They're going to be the one, so they can find someone who will carry out what they feel as though their vision needs to be going forward. Because if they thought their vision was in lockstep with what John Harbaugh's was, John would still be there. Yep. So clearly they have a different vision as to how they think this thing needs to look in order for them to get over the hump. So they're going to try and find someone whose vision aligns more with theirs. There's a lot going on here, man. There's a lot going on here, more so than just, did they run Derrick Henry enough? Was John pushing the right buttons? There's a lot going on. There's a lot of hands in this. John's is just the most prominent and most forward-facing one, along with Lamar's. But what are they going to do? They're going to get rid of Lamar? But hey, you know what? He's got a big cap number coming up, too. He's getting older, too. There's a lot of discussions that are going to be going on inside of that building over the next couple of months, because this isn't just about now. This is about the next couple of years as well in Baltimore.
Well, two quickies here. First off, with the Derrick Henry in a game against New England, there's only one drive we're talking about where he didn't get the ball, because they were up 24-13. They kicked off. Patriots went right down the field, got the two-point conversion. And then the next drive is when Henry didn't get the ball too much. 4 plays, he didn't get the ball once. Then they kicked off again. Then they punted, and the Patriots took the lead. And after that, you got to try to score. So that is a little overrated, the amount of touches that Henry did not get in the game against New England. Second thing is, it's time. We discussed this. Let's give Lamar a little grief. He's 3-5 in a postseason. And you're going to say, oh, Chris, you're picking on him. Bottom line is, he was pretty good against Buffalo last year. Yes, Andrews dropped the pass, but Lamar also fumbled. He also fumbled, gave him a touchdown. It was okay. He was pretty good. He wasn't great. He was pretty good.
That's right.
The game before that against Kansas City in the AFC Championship game, yes, Flowers fumbled. He threw 3 picks in the game. He got outplayed by Mahomes. Against Tennessee with the #1 seed, 14-2, he was terrible in the game. Against the Chargers, in which they lost, when Rivers beat him in Baltimore, where he was terrible. Terrible. And give Harbaugh credit. He kept Rodgers in. He didn't put Flacco in the game when Lamar was terrible in the game. So you got to be a little fair and say, well, you know, he's bad job in the playoffs. He hasn't won a Super Bowl. They haven't gotten to the next level. Part of that's Lamar. Lamar hasn't played to that level. So if Lamar plays that level and plays a little better, plays better against Kansas City, and they get to a Super Bowl, Harbaugh's still coaching today. Yeah. So part of this is you got to be fair. You can't put all the blame when he has got to a Super Bowl, playoffs.
No question.
Lamar hasn't played that great. Right. And he played great Sunday night. Right. Let's be fair. Lamar was heroic. He was heroic Sunday night. He did a tremendous job. He made great plays. I loved watching him play Sunday night. Right. And the kid missed a field goal. And you and I, all of us know, sitting right here today, we all know this, that if the kid makes the kick, he's coaching. I don't care if they lose to Houston. Harbaugh's not going anywhere. They just said, geez, you can't bring you know what it is? When your closer blows a pennant, you can't bring the closer back next year. He blew the World Series. Jeff Hoffman's not closing for Toronto after Rojas hit the home run in the 9th inning in Game 7 of the World Series. Right. When a field goal kicker misses a kick in a big spot, it's tough to bring that kind of guy back. And same thing goes for the coaches in this situation.
I hear where you're coming from. I don't. For the most part, I agree with you. And I hear Louis agreeing with you in the background. No problem. Let's take a couple of things into consideration. Tyler Loop, even though he missed the field goal, and that's on him, he's a rookie. There are people that are looking at John Harbaugh and saying, what the hell was a rookie doing in that situation? Can find somebody more experienced. You understand what Pittsburgh means, going up against Pittsburgh, what that rivalry is like. The pressure breaks pipes. Palms get sweaty, backsides get tight. Come on now.
Plus a 44-yarder, as you and I discussed.
It's a 44-yard, but what I'm saying is you got to take that into consideration. Who put the rookie in that position?
Yeah, he did.
Who had faith in the rookie as opposed to other experienced kickers out there in the situation? I'm just saying it's just a throw out there. Let's also get to this point about Lamar Jackson. I understand it's the NFL, and this is where I go to you, Swagu and Louis, because I'll lean on y'all about this, but this is me. This is me saying this, okay? You know I'm going to pay attention to. I'm going to bring up the business element, right? Now, we understand the NFL prints money. We get that part. They're going to make their money. You don't hear about this often. Final 7 home games and abundance of empty seats. That's what they were saying. That's what they were saying. That was going on in Baltimore now. And let me tell you something right now. The one thing we do know, that ain't because of Lamar Jackson.
Well, first of all,
that brother boxed off. So what I'm saying to you, I'm only bringing that up to say, no, you can bring up his struggles, and I got you. Legit. That brother, I don't give a damn what his situation. He ain't going nowhere. Yeah. He ain't going anywhere. You can't. You understand what will happen? You understand what will happen in the state of Maryland? You understand? You talk to somebody that know the governor now. I know the governor. First name.
Guys from down there for the playoff games.
I know the governor. I'm telling you right now. I know the mayor too. Remember, you have any idea what would happen in Baltimore? Yeah. What would happen in the state of Maryland if Lamar Jackson was moved? Oh, that is not a consideration.
The reality is the sentiment of the fans is not new. A large majority of this Baltimore fan base been out on John Harbaugh, not just this year. Like we in the media, we talk to people, we know people. I played in Baltimore for a week and a half, so I know a lot of people in that facility. This fan base has been tired of not being a part of the Super Bowl for a number of years.